Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Each week we talk about the social media world. It is loud and it is crowded, so you need a professional on your side to help you get your message out to the correct people. There's a lot of things out there. Some of it's true, some of it's not. We won't talk about that. But you need to get the right message to the right people, so you need to hire a professional like Oak City Tech. Go to oakcitytech.com. Tell them we said hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. Each week, about 35 chapters, almost 550 members get together, and our goal is to help each other grow our businesses. And our guest today, Tallie Griffith, a realtor at Dream Team Realty. Tallie, how are you today?
I am excellent, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Glad to have you on today. I throw the gauntlet. We'll get to talking about families in a minute, but I throw the gauntlet down to you and Dan. My wife, Becky, and I are celebrating 35 years today.
I saw that this morning.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Yep. Thanks. A little harder on her than me. And I told her the other day, I'm looking forward to starting the second 35. And she goes, no, don't. No, the math probably won't. The math doesn't work. I said, it does. I don't know if we'll be around, but it does. So, but it's funny with two kids and now a grandson, how quick it goes by. And then how often you look back and go, wow, a lot of things have happened in this quick 35 years.
Absolutely.
But it's a lot of fun. I'm a happy, lucky guy. So Tallie is in a chapter that is not, I don't know what the latest word is on a forming chapter. What do we call it?
Almost there.
Almost there chapter. Apex Business Builders. They meet Thursday mornings at 8:30. So if
Yep.
you're in the Apex area, want to meet some cool folks in that chapter, a friend of the show, Dr. Ashley McGuire, is in that chapter. She is my chiropractor, and I tell everybody she's my chiropractor.
She's mine too.
Good. Yep. Wonderful. But if folks are looking to meet some folks in the Apex area, I know, are you guys still scheduled to start meeting in person in August?
We actually start meeting the first and third weeks in August, and we'll be at American Frontier.
All right. The home of James and Nicole. Like it.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Jake. Yep. First and third, interesting. Was that done via survey and polling with your group?
Yes.
And
We
why
all
first?
voted on it last Thursday, so we're
Why
all
first
excited to
and
be back in
third?
person.
Yep. Sorry. Why the first and the third?
Chip picked it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he's important. He tells us that. So yeah. You have been in BNI for a couple years, so tell me the difference between joining an established chapter and helping start your own.
Um, it's kind of interesting going from having the established chapter. You kind of walk in, the training wheels are off, and everybody's kind of zooming through. At that point, I actually had my training wheels on because I was the first time ever in BNI and actually first time in real estate. So I was starting two new things at the same time. Coming back into it and kind of being the senior person in your BNI group in regards to the knowledge that you have in the background for BNI, it's been a lot of fun because I feel more of a mentor and helping people understand how awesome BNI is. Just I have such a giver's gain attitude to begin with. So to find a group that matches it is astounding.
And I was, as a consulting director, I have 3 chapters of my own, but I'm always talking with BNI people. In your chapter, I believe you are headed for success for one of the big reasons is you have a couple of alpha dogs in your chapter. And I try to
Yeah,
explain to chapters that struggle what an alpha dog is. And basically, an alpha dog doesn't let stupid stuff happen.
exactly.
And I know with you and Ashley, I know you have Cindy in your group. But anytime you're forming, it's like, look, folks, here's the template. We can step out a little bit outside occasionally based on the personality of the group, but here's what we're going to do every week, and here are your expectations.
Yep. Yeah, you got to set the ground rules.
Yep.
I mean, that just kind of helps you keep going and keep the chapter alive. If you just show up for a meeting and do nothing outside of it, then you're not going to ever grow your group nor grow your business.
Yeah.
Every single time a visitor comes to visit us, you're going to get an email from me, if not a text message, if that afternoon, but the next day to say, "Hey, let's meet." I mean, I always love to talk, and I love coffee, so
Well,
a
but
lot of coffee chats.
that just goes back to regular business customer service, just to say thank you. Even if somebody just inquired on your website or hired you, just to
Yep,
reach out and say thank you.
yep, absolutely.
Now,
And it helps you grow yourself too. I mean, you never know who you're going to meet. And you come visit us. It's not that I'm going to say, "Hey, you need to join BNI." It's I just want to get to know you and who are you. I have met from pet therapist to, and who knew I would actually in a grocery line at a grocery store know that I could pass that referral on to that pet therapist. So just because someone was talking behind me, you just never know who you're going to meet.
a pet therapist. All right. Well,
Mhm.
you have 2 dogs. You have a dog and a cat.
I have a dog now. My kitty cat passed away not long ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Sorry
No,
to hear that.
she was 18, so she led a long life.
I'm not a cat person. Is that about an average lifespan?
It's a little more than average. She outwithstood my husband's because he's not a cat person either, but she
Mm.
came first.
Yes, I've learned that too. I don't there's really no discussion, and any good husband knows their place, so but a pet therapist,
Yes.
I guess I know there are a lot of dogs out there, thunder, loud noises, maybe other
Yep.
dogs, bother them, but interesting. How did that conversation happen in a grocery line?
It was a lady talking to another lady in the grocery store, and they were behind me. And I have like superhuman hearing, as my husband says, because I
Oh,
can pick up other conversations around me, but I never hear anything coming out of his mouth. So
yeah.
he says. But anyways, they were just talking about how her dog was having some emotional difficulties and didn't know what to do. And I was like, I hope you don't mind me overhearing you, but I know someone who might work with that, and that's how it happened. It was a 2-minute conversation.
And that's one of the things I like about BNI in general. It teaches us to listen different. And I tell the story. I got into BNI. My brother and I had a commercial cleaning company, and we're focusing on medical offices. And I was in a medical office one day, and this lady was just beating on her computer because it wasn't working. And I was of zero help because I didn't know an IT person. Now I got 4 of them, and it just
Yeah.
teaches you to listen different because now
Yes.
you're just a resource if they need you.
Right. Exactly. And it's one of the things that me and I trained you is kind of like you're picking up on things. So when you're doing your elevator speech or your 60 seconds, 30 seconds, no matter what you're doing, is you're always trying to drop a hint or a word or something that's going to stick in somebody's head. That's going to say,
Yep.
"Oh, I know someone who's going to help you with that." And that's one thing I will say, being in BNI as long as I have been, that I've really helped me hone in and focus on those skills.
Now, Tallie is a realtor with Dream Team Realty, and we've had a few realtors on the show, and this market just keeps getting goofier.
Yes, it changes every weekend, every day.
Do you, I'm sure people have asked you, "Hey, when's this going to end?"
Not I think the insanity piece of it's gonna eventually die down sometime, but the busyness in our city as growing as we are and being listed many, many times as number 1 or in the top 10 in magazines and the growth that we're having, it's just gonna keep going up, and we just don't have enough inventory for everybody
And then
at the moment.
then we hear that Amazon's coming,
Mhm.
Google's coming, RTP's growing, and what I understand is they just can't build enough houses, right?
They can't. And with COVID doing a lot of different shortages, I mean, we didn't have windows for new homes for a while, then we didn't have toilets for a while, and then we didn't have paint. So that's always been a challenge for the builders too, is making sure they can get all the supplies in and the matching the costs when lumber went up.
Now I heard lumber and paint, there was a shortage of toilets
Yeah, there was. Mhm.
huh, because of the product or nobody to get them to places.
I don't know.
Oh, there's so many jokes in there, it just writes itself, but we'll pass on that.
It does.
Are you dealing with more people moving to the area or people taking the gamble of, "I'm gonna sell my house and find a new house to buy in the area"?
More of it's been I'm selling my house because I'm moving out of the area, or I'm coming into your area. I'm not seeing a lot of moving in the same town right now.
How are people moving to the area finding you?
That's a good question. um, Finding me is, word of mouth. So I have strictly grown my business referral based only. I don't pay for leads. I don't go door knocking or anything like that. I do it through BNI. Wonderful thing with BNI is we actually have a real estate referral network, and we meet once a month via Zoom. And I now know probably 50 some odd agents. I know agents in all 50 states. And that's where a lot of the referrals are starting to come from, is other agents are getting to know me. And from that, we pass referrals back and forth. And when we do that, we get referral fees too.
And I love that. Again, another thing I really love about BNI is because that's the ultimate in relationship marketing is just getting to know somebody and realizing after you talk with them a couple times, like, you know what? I think I can refer her.
Yep. And a lot of it started because we're all going through Zoom fatigue. So someone was like, "Hey, I have my 10 minutes coming up. I don't know what to do." And I'm like, "Hey, I learned how to do this cool Jeopardy game."
Yes.
And I sent it to you, Mike.
Yep.
And it just fostered people just outreaching to me left and right. And I had a couple group Zoom calls and recorded some of them. And that's how I started meeting people, was just through that. And then now I'm known as the Jeopardy girl when I get on the monthly calls.
And I need to jump on a meeting you're on one day to watch that on Zoom. I'm one of those, I learn by watching. And
Yep.
so next time you're doing that on Zoom, if it's appropriate to invite me, I'd love to. No other reason other than to watch and see how it works, so
Sure.
I can do that. So I like that. But again, that makes you memorable.
Mhm.
And if there are 18 realtors in the room and one is doing Zoom Jeopardy, and the other 17 say, "Hey, I've been in the market 15 years. I know what I'm doing," they're going to remember you and you only.
Yep.
The other thing I've learned from realtors in BNI is, well, first of all, the number of people that have their license is just stupid. It's last I
Exactly.
heard it was like, oh, well over 7,000 people in the
Yes.
triangle have a real estate license. And
Correct.
I get when people are looking at that industry, flexibility is one. Anytime small business, flexibility is part of the decision. But they say, "Oh, wow, look at all these houses selling. I'm just gonna get my license and, I'll put up a sign and sell 2 houses a month," whatever number they pick. But
Yep.
what they didn't factor in was it took you and other realtors like you who are successful here 6 months to develop that relationship to be able to put your sign in their front yard.
Yep. The realistic thing is it takes 3 to 5 years to grow your business in real estate. And a lot of people get into it thinking it's a quick sell. They drive fancy cars, they make money, and it's like, no. Reality is it takes a lot of work. And I started my real estate business with no database here. So it's just been slowly growing it. And it took me a good 2.5 years to get even a profitable year. But it's been fun. I love it every day.
I'm assuming they get into this thinking, well, I know 200, let's just say they know 200 people that they could call this week. The odds of one or two of those actually selling a house, probably not real high at that moment.
No, no,
And
it takes time, but
y-
it's all about being, that person who's in the front of their mind. So I keep up with my database monthly. I'm a huge note card person. So I mail note cards every single week just to say, "Hey, I'm here." And a lot of people go, "Just because you still reach out to me, I know you're doing this because you're growing your business and you're not just doing it for the transaction." And I'm like, exactly.
a lot of people that are small business owners forget that it's our job to continually educate our past, current, and future clients.
Absolutely.
Because if they've not heard from you if they hear from you once a quarter for 3 years, and then all of a sudden don't hear from you, they're gonna think, "Oh, it's probably not a realtor anymore,"
Correct.
and that's on you.
Correct. It was funny. I got a card in the mail the other day of someone who they've moved away. They're renting their house here, but they sent me a card just to say, "Hey, we've moved. We wanted to let you know our new address and we're still supporting you." And I was just like, great. nice know you keep in contact with me. And they even made me a whole new card set with my name and everything in it. So it was
Oh,
super sweet.
yep.
And, that alone just made my heart melt. It's keeping those relationships going every day.
That also tells you what you're doing is connecting.
Yes. Yep.
And a lot of small business owners like, well, I'll send an email out whenever I have something to say. No, that's not going to work. Again, because, and I always ask people this, okay, you as the consumer, why do you shop where you shop? Why do you eat where you eat? What makes you want to buy something? And then they go into this, well, it's this, and this. I'm like, well, do you do those same things for your clients? They're like, oh, well,
Yeah.
some maybe. Like, no,
Yep.
we've been told from a marketing or branding standpoint, a company needs to touch you as a consumer 6 to 7 times before you decide you might wanna do business with them.
Correct.
And yet some people send out 1 email a month.
Nope.
Yep.
You get me, you get my postman too, because I keep him busy.
Yeah, when you know your postman by the first name, "Bill, Tallie, how are you doing? Good to see you again," Like, "Okay, that means we're
Oh
doing
yeah.
something right." So, we are here with Tallie Griffith of Dream Team Realty. She is a member of the Apex Business Builders. They meet Thursday mornings at 8:30. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. We talk all the time, folks, about what you own and what you don't. You do not own your Facebook page. You may think you do, but Facebook, and we've heard this before, can shut you down whenever they want because you said something that they just shut you down for whatever they wanted. But they can't take your email list from you. So you always need a good email campaign as part of your different ways that you reach out and touch your clients. So think about that. But you want to go to an expert like Oak City Tech, talk to them about the best way to do that. So if you go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for, what you're looking for, I know they'll be able to help you. All right, Tally, one of the cool things about doing a show like this is I get to talk to people about different things. I
Okay.
know middle class white male, 60 years old, got that one down. But you are a realtor, a nurse, and an army mom.
Correct.
So let's talk about the nursing first.
Okay.
You don't normally see people go from Connecticut to Charlotte to be a nurse. And look, they're on a podcast talking about real estate.
Exactly.
So how do we get out of Connecticut to Charlotte? Let's start with that first.
Oh, that was straight out of high school, straight to nursing school. I knew I wanted to be out of Connecticut. Um, my dad grew up in Tennessee. I loved the South. We visited every summer. And I knew a way to kind of get out would be to go to school somewhere else. So I kind of just, when I took my SAT scores, I filled in the bubbles of anything that said School of Nursing to send my scores to. And Mercy School of Nursing reached out. And that August, I started nursing school.
How was that? You were what, 18 or 19?
Yeah.
How
Yes.
was that moving away from everybody and everything you knew?
It was exciting. It was fun. And then about a month in, it finally set in that I had no car, I had no family, didn't know a soul. And I was like, oh, okay. But put my feet down, started making some good friends. A lot of the instructors knew I was the only one that was out of state. I mean, they had some South Carolina people and North Carolina girls, but I was the only one from Connecticut. So they kind of took me under their wings and I survived.
Did
I never
you
left for
Yeah,
25 years.
I know, and we're glad you didn't. Did you bring a Connecticut accent with you?
My husband says it comes out when I get with my girlfriends and I get my oh my god. No.
Nice, nice. The South, you said your dad was from Tennessee, so you're familiar with our ways and my people.
Yes.
Any problem anything you ate or drank first down here that you didn't have in Connecticut, you thought, "I need to keep doing this?"
Oh, let's see here. So I was the only household in Connecticut that had sweet tea and white cornbread. Um,
Nice.
Dad made sure that we carried on those traditions. But I will say, when I came down here, my first husband loved the Sundrop drink and
Yeah.
cheer wine. And I did not know at all what those two drinks were. So,
Sundrop's okay. I personally don't think you're missing out on no more cheer wine, but that's just me. So that's
yeah,
just one
no, my,
consumer.
My husband now, he loves cheer wine. So it's just, and then he adapted my son to like it too. So
Yeah,
I don't
what do you
drink
do?
either.
If that's the worst they do, yeah. Why nursing?
Nursing came from a passion of my grandfather had Alzheimer's disease back when they did not know how to care for it. So they were snowbirds. They lived mostly in Florida and came home during the summer months to Connecticut. And he started taking very ill, was getting combative in the stage where he was, disappearing. So they came to live with us, so we could help take care of my grandfather. And they ended up, he got to the point he was getting too combative. We put him into a mental institution, because they didn't know where to put him.
Mm.
And we were there for about 2, 3 weeks, and it was the worst experience we've ever gone through in the family. And we finally found a nursing home that would take him. And my grandmother then started working as a nurse's aide. So she could be there with him, plus make some extra money while he was getting all his care. And then watching him pass away, I was like, there's got to be something I can do to help this out.
And did you take to it immediately when you got to nursing school?
Mhm. Yep. Loved it. Loved classes. I worked in the ER on weekends. So I was working 7P to 7A every Friday and Saturday night in the ER, and realized I love the ER, but that wasn't my role. um, but I was also a child that fell a lot. I was known as a klutz. Even the orthopedic doctors called me a klutz because I had 5 broken arms, 2 broken legs, knee surgery, many toes and fingers. So that's why I went into orthopedics, I guess.
Wait, how did you break your arm 5 times?
Oh, I do is this one 3 times, this one twice. I fell off the jungle gym, off the front porch, running on the playground and got tripped. Yeah, the principal actually witnessed that one. He called my parents in and said, I was always worried there was some abuse issue, but I watched her fall today. Yeah.
Right, since you enrolled in nursing school, have you broken any bones?
I broke my toe in the first week of real estate school.
How did you break your toe?
Came out of the elevator and tripped on the carpet.
Ooh, you hate that carpet, yeah.
And I did the Superman fly across the marble floor, but I
Yeah.
never spilt my coffee.
Nice.
I know.
Okay.
I was very proud of that.
Did you at least get golf clap for not spilling any coffee? Did people appreciate that?
Yes. I had 2 witnesses. One of them has become my soulmate sister for life. We still talk every day.
Does the toe still hurt?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Do any of your bones, were they replaced with metal rods or anything like that?
No, I have no metal rods.
All
I
right.
had one pin, but it got removed once the bone healed.
Are or were your kids, as you say, klutzes like their
Nope.
mom?
Well, yeah, my middle son. He's a goalie, so he's
Wow.
had a couple fingers, and he fell off his bike once and broke his wrist. So yeah, he's falling right around mom's lines.
Okay. Well, being a goalie, that's kind of speeds those opportunities up a little bit, right?
I just keep buddy tape in my bag and
Yep.
he just regloves and keeps going.
Yep. Our oldest son got stitches on the same eyebrow 3 times. Like, what are the odds? And one was involving a jungle gym. Yep. So, uh,
That was the stitches right here.
yeah, yeah. And staples in the head one day we got. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
That was new. Yeah. Then they
Yeah.
explained why. Like, okay, that makes sense. Wasn't happening to us, you know. I mean, we're concerned parents, but when
Yeah.
your doctor says, yeah, these are easier and better, and they come out cleaner and things
Yep.
like that. So thought that was interesting.
I had one of the first waterproof casts. I was one of the guinea pigs back in the day.
Ooh. Okay.
Freaked people out when I was hot as anything. We were going down to Tennessee. We had pulled off on some roadside, and there was this big cooler full of ice with watermelons. And my hand was so hot, I just stuck it into the bin. And I mean, 3 ladies that were sitting there were like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "It's okay. It's waterproof. I can do this."
And their look on their face was like, huh?
Yeah.
Did those itch more or less than the regular ones?
They all itch.
Yeah. And assuming you got them autographed by family and friends,
Oh, yeah.
you still don't have, you didn't keep any of those, right?
My mom tried, but when they left Connecticut and moved to Virginia, they finally threw the bag away because dad found it in the attic.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
probably didn't smell too good,
Uh-uh.
right?
No.
Now you were a Director of Health Services at Humana.
Mhm.
Again, how do we get to the real estate?
So I worked for Humana about 10 years. They moved me from Charlotte here to Raleigh to open up the office here. We were working for the state employee health plan, became one of our big clients for the Medicare Advantage product. So I got moved here to help run the region. And a year and a half later, I unfortunately got laid off.
Mm.
So because of my 10-year commitment, I got a 20-week severance package. And
Ooh.
to get another job that was like that one, I'd have to move my family again. And I did not want to do that. And I was overqualified for jobs around here. And it was a struggle. So with the coach that I had, she was like, what are your other passions? Do your top 10. And I wrote some stuff down that night. I talked to my husband, and he was like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure this out. And I remember we were in the kitchen heating up lunch, and he's like, why don't you go into real estate? I'm like, are you crazy? They don't make anything. It's a hard job. You got to struggle, because I know several people who are in it and know the real truth behind it. And he was just like, why don't you go for it? So the next day, I had a Facebook group that said, hey, if you're looking to go in real estate, I'd love to talk to you. So I reached out and enrolled in school. And 20 weeks later, I graduated and got my license on middle of October. And the next Monday, I started in real estate. So there you go.
Do you remember your first transaction?
Oh, yeah. We all remember those.
How did that go?
Uh, it was a wonderful lady. I was working on a team at that time, and another agent had already been working with her. And she's like, hey, let's do this together. Let's get you trained right. And this was a lady who was looking at houses that when you walked into them, you had to make sure you had on tight leg pants and boots, because they were, down rotten houses that just needed some love and some therapy. And bugs don't scare me. So I was like, send me in, not a big deal. And she was great. It was a great transaction, and she's loving the home, and I still keep in touch with her.
And how long ago was that?
3 plus years ago.
How long was she was the seller?
She was buyer.
Okay. How long was that house on the market?
Oh, back then?
Yeah.
Oh, probably a good 40 days, maybe.
And now if you see a house on the market 40 days, like, okay, what's wrong with the realtor or what's wrong with the house?
If it's on the market more than a week, we say that right now.
What is Tallie short for?
It's not short for anything. I am named after a patient from the Marcus Welby MD TV show.
Nice.
Yep.
And
They used to go into this conference room that had a big chalkboard, and they would write the patient's name on there, and then have a discussion about the patient. And they wrote the name Tallie spelled with the IE, and my dad liked it. And because he was from Tennessee, he stuck the Lynn behind it. So it was Tallie Lynn.
this was your dad's work? All right, hang on a sec. I got to write that down. That's good.
And I've seen the episode for Marcus Welby. You can Google it and find it.
That's too funny. Huh. I figured the Lynn because you had told me your dad's from Tennessee. So when I was doing a little research, I like Lynn. Okay, that makes sense. So, but Tally figured I had no idea what it's short for, but it turns out nothing.
Nothing.
Wow. Marcus Welby show. I do
Yep,
remember that. Yep. Yep. That was one of those must see TVs back in the day. So,
exactly.
we are here with Tallie Griffith, Dream Team Realty, a member of Apex Business Builders. They meet Thursday mornings at 8:30. So if you're in the Apex area, want to meet some cool people who are good, friendly business helpers, please do. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Folks, we talk about this all the time with social media. It sounds like a good idea to do your own, and it's really fun, at least for me, for the first 72 hours. But then after that, I'm like, oh, God, what am I going to post now? So you need professionals that know what the heck they're doing. The folks at Oak City Tech do. So please go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for, and I know they'll be able to help you. All right, Tally, one of my favorite parts of the show is asking people. So I'll ask you this. How did you and Dan meet? And do you both tell the story the same way?
Yes, we tell the story the same way because we met via eHarmony.
Nice. Now, do you both tell the story about how it progressed the same way?
Yes. We do. We are big food and wine lovers, and our first true date was at a restaurant in Charlotte. And I love seafood, so it was a seafood restaurant. And we sat down, and we were both on call, so we both grabbed our phones and put them on the table. And he's like, "I'm thinking about ordering this." I'm like, "Ooh, that sounded good, but I was thinking about this." And he goes, "Well, let's order the two different foods and the wines and maybe we can share." And we ended up doing eating half the plates and then trading the plates and trading the wine bottles. So, and we've been doing that ever since.
And at the time, what was Dan's profession?
He's in IT. At the time, he was a consultant with a company that he was a partner with. They did more infrastructure, email, that type of a thing. And now he's in cloud architecture.
And what made you go on to eHarmony?
Desperation? No. It's one of those. I had been divorced for many, many years and just was not able to find, as my dad said, I needed to keep changing the bait to find the right guy. So it was changing the different platforms I had done, from speed dating to, all different clubs and different things. And it was just awful. And a friend of mine said to me, "You got leftover birthday money." She was a coworker. We shared an office. And she's like, "I'm putting you on eHarmony." I'm like, "I am not doing this. That was the worst test in the world and painful how long it took." But she sat there beside me and we did it. And thank goodness I did it.
What was it about Dan's profile that made you think a second time about, "Oh, okay, this is interesting."
He is, when you look at his profile, he's got the look of Anderson Cooper.
Okay.
So he's got the white hair, beautiful blue eyes. And I was just like, kind of like this guy. He looks down to earth too.
Alright, and then you start, what do you start chatting with each other?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
and how long doing that before you actually go to the seafood dinner?
Let me see. That was our first date was November 16th. So I think we met May, June.
Okay, alright, and would Dan remember November 16th?
I don't know about that, but
Mm,
he's pretty good with dates.
okay, alright, and then how long after the first date do we get engaged?
We got engaged, let's see, February, let's see, about 6 months later.
Okay, so after the first date, did you kinda know?
I did.
Okay, alright, and because both of you were on call, were your schedules tough to coordinate?
They were a little bit. I was also a single mom, so it was trying to
Yeah,
figure out what
yep.
weekends he was free and I was free and the whole nine yards, but it all worked out. But little side note that a lot of people don't know is Dan and I have lived near each other, worked near each other for years in Charlotte and never met each other. The first time my son met him, he was like, "Mom, he's the guy with the goofy yellow dog." I'm like, "How do you know him?" He used to live in a house right behind my son's elementary school. And at lunchtime, he would walk his dog.
Wow, that'll tell you how small this big world is, right?
Hmm. And
That
Charlotte's a big city,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
had been all over the place. So we found out we used to shop at the same grocery store about the same time and year, hung out at the same restaurants.
Tell me you would have recognized Anderson Cooper in the grocery store if you'd have seen him, right?
He always wore a ball cap.
Ah, okay. Or you just weren't looking for anybody. That's
I
probably
don't
the
know.
bet yeah, exactly. That's why we don't see things, because I wasn't looking for red Porsches. Now I'm
Right.
looking for them. I see them everywhere.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now let's talk about Noah, your son who's in the Army.
Yep.
He deployed right now?
He is. He's in Poland.
Okay. What does he do in the Army?
He flies the Shadow, which is one of the large, he hates the word drone, but they're UASs. So he gets to play video games all day, is what I say.
Hey, that's where it's going, so good for him.
Yep.
My father-in-law is retired Air Force. My brother-in-law is retired Air Force. My niece just got out of the Army, so I understand parents of life. You're an Army mom. What is that like? The first time he told you, "Hey, I'm going in," and the first time he got deployed, what was that like for a mom?
I don't think I have the same experience other moms have because I am just filled with gratitude and just so proud of him. A lot of people do the whole, oh my goodness gracious, and the panic and why and the crying. And I was ecstatic. When he called to tell me he was doing it, I was actually standing on a 10-foot ladder changing a bulb. And I had him talking on my phone because I saw he called. I didn't want to miss him. So I'm on my watch talking to him. And he's like, Mom, I did it. And I'm like, which service line? Because I always knew he'd go into it. He was surprised I took it so well, but I always knew he'd be in some form of the service. What he chose and the line he's in, I'm just ecstatic for him.
Is this gonna be a career for him, you think?
I don't know. He says it sometimes and then he's a little tired of it. So who knows?
Does he like living over in Europe?
He's loving it so far. He was talking to me this weekend. He tries to check in on the weekends with me. And he was like, I'm gonna go hibernate for a while. And I'm like, why are you doing that? And he's like, yeah, it's been fun, but I've realized I want to save money. Going because they where the base is near a lake. So the boys all go to the lake and swim at the lake, and then they stop at a restaurant on the way home on the weekends. And he's like, I've been doing it a little bit too much.
How much longer is he over there?
He should come home sometime mid-December.
Okay. Alright, well, good. Love the military life, and I'm not preaching, I don't wanna get on a soapbox or anything, but, again, any first responder, the firemen that run up the steps while we're running down the steps, the nurses, military, my hat's off to them because most of us wouldn't do and chose not to do those jobs, so,
Yep.
my hat's off to them. Uh, a little, uh a little birdie told me about your dream. About the one thing you really, really wanna do. Is it correct that you wanna own your own B&B one day?
Yes.
How did that come about?
Every time my husband and I travel, if it's we try to be off the beaten path, and we've always stayed at B&Bs. We just love it. We just and always end up talking with the owners and having a great time. And just early on, as we were dating, we were like, if we could buy a great house up in the mountains or Yadkin Valley area, and we could run a B&B. We
Is
love to
that
cook.
a plan on the legitimate list of things to do?
It is.
Okay. And are we thinking once all the kids are out of the house?
Don't know. We're seriously thinking about it for a little bit, and then COVID hit. We're like, thank goodness we're not in that right now.
Yep.
So, but no, we go to the mountains every fall, and we always kind of look around just to see. It's just it hasn't meant to be, and it hasn't happened yet, but it is in the foreseeable future.
For those folks who do enjoy B&Bs, what's the one thing to look for to make sure a B&B has or that they offer?
Your own bathroom.
Ooh, good.
That's the big kicker. Not having to share. That's my thing.
Yeah, because we did that with brothers and sisters growing up, and it wasn't that good then, right?
No.
And, now you would have to cook, right? And
Yes.
don't you have to feed people that stay there?
Mhm.
Okay, and you like that because I know you enjoy cooking.
Yep. Yep. We cook brunch every Sunday here, and our kids love it. And we try different recipes. And if it's something we think, hey, we probably could do this in a mass quantity, we kind of tag it and save it for future.
What's one of the brunches that turned out way better than you thought it would? It was a new recipe.
Uh, let's see. Trying to think what we made recently. We're always experimenting with frittatas and
Mm.
different things like that. And we made a frittata with bread this last time, and it was really good. Ciabatta bread, and it was very tasty and just different. And our kids devoured it, and I was like, "This one we got to put that in the book."
That's your playlist, right?
Hmm. Yep,
How much you guys with everybody's schedule and 2 kids doing this, that, and the other, how often you guys get together for a family meal during the week?
every night.
Oh, wow. That's rare.
Well, we can do it now because we only have the seventh grader and the soon to be fifth grader, so it's
Okay.
we can still kind of coordinate. But if anything, we always the weekends we try to do something, and then every Friday night we do order in food and movie night. So
Ooh, what was this past Friday then?
This past Friday was our favorite sushi place, Kumo Sushi. They do excellent sushi. They have two of our favorite rolls, summer roll and the crazy tuna. And we watched the new, oh, what was it? Now I'm blanking. We've been watching Sweet Tooth and Loki, but we finished those up
Okay.
the week before.
And who picks the movie?
We kind of all take turns.
Okay. And can a movie idea be vetoed before Friday's showing?
Mhm.
Okay.
But
And
during COVID, we took out the classics and did Back to the Future and some Karate Kid and some of those other fun ones.
yeah, you gotta. Nothing wrong with those. I was listening to a a radio station this morning on Google because I don't. They're out of town. They're outside Raleigh, but I really enjoy listening to them. They're somehow. Jackie Mason, the comedian, died over the weekend, and he was in Caddyshack 2,
Hmm.
which is I don't know if it's arguably the worst sequel ever. I don't know what you would argue who you would argue that would be worse, but that was I'm like most people, watch about 8 minutes of this and you realize why Dangerfield read the script. He goes, "Yeah, I don't wanna be part of this." Sounds like, oh, bad sequels. Some of them are okay, not all of them, but that was bad.
There's rarely a real good one.
Yeah, and are you guys watching the, uh, Karate Kid, Netflix series?
I already binged that one. I
Okay.
did that one by myself.
Was it pretty good?
It's okay.
Alright. So what's for dinner tonight, and when does that conversation usually start?
Well, we meal plan every Saturday.
Oh, look at you
So
guys organized.
yeah, we have an app which I'm pulling up right now called Paprika, and love this app because we can both sign into it. I just log in with his account info so we both can view it and we can add stuff to grocery lists. So if I'm like, hey, I just showed a house, I'm up in Wake Forest. I know there's, I can be by Lidl on the way home. What do you want me to pick up? He goes, well, it's on the grocery list already. I'll add a few more things. So and you can save and store recipes in there. You can pull recipes from all different websites, or you can actually, we have a couple family ones that we can import into them. So it's a nice one-stop shop.
Nice. Is there a local place that's not a Food Lion or a Lidl or any place like that that you recommend to go buy little things for a meal?
I'm a sucker for Trader Joe's.
Okay.
There's a lot of little shops. There's a little Italian shop that's kind of in the way onto Holly Springs that I can hit sometimes.
Alright. And do the kids cook?
Yes,
And
they're learning.
are there
My
pal
daughter's a sweet too, so she'll bake anything.
okay.
Um, but
Alright.
my son's been helping. They each have their own little branded recipe that they make. So
Oh, nice. Okay. Alright, so look at that, and I always tell we have 2 boys, and before they went off to college, we told them there's a couple things you're gonna need to know to do. A, to survive, and B, so you might find a date. And one is to do your own laundry,
yep,
and one is to be able to cook some. And if
yep,
you can do that, somebody might want to go out with you.
yep. So, little side story funness is 2 years ago at Christmas when my son was home, he was getting ready to leave out of Arizona, deploy to Kentucky, where his home base is. And he came home for Christmas, and I was struggling to figure out what to get this kid for Christmas. I mean, at that time, he was 24, 25. I'm like, what do I get this kid? And I got him one of those, not Instapot, but one of the air fryer Instapot
Mm.
combo things. He absolutely loved that gift, called me about once a week. Mom, I tried this new recipe. He would send me pictures and Snapchat of new things he was making and creating because all they have is a microwave and a hot plate.
Mhm.
So it created his own little mini oven. So it's just funny to watch. The one that never wanted to cook now cook, and the other two just took into cooking pretty quickly.
Oh, I bet his buddies love that because he'll
Yep,
just put stuff in. What do you let it sit there for a little while, and then poof, here it is. And oh yeah,
yep,
other single guys love it when another single guy knows how to cook. So
yeah, exactly,
it's almost as good as a buffet, but nothing beats a buffet for a single guy. Or excuse me,
exactly,
no, nothing beats an all you can eat for a single
right.
guy. Yeah, that's the best. Then the buffet line, and then yeah, and then your buddy who cooks. Kind of like you always want to know the friends that you don't ever want to own a boat, but we got 3 friends with boats.
You don't have to own the toys to be able to play with the toys.
That is correct. And it's better just to be the friend that brings more food and drink to the boat, but you don't own the boats.
That's why my friends like me. They know I always bring the wine.
Yep. If somebody's thinking about getting ready, oh, by the way, pronounce the name of the town you're from in Connecticut.
Uncasville?
Uncasville. Okay. I did a little research. I did not know this, but now I know where it is. It claims on Wikipedia that it's a village in southeast Montville, which
Hmm.
is the home of the big Mohegan Sun Casino,
That is correct.
which I have heard of. Now I know where your little town is.
Yep. And we were not a town until that got put in. What used to sit on that land was UNC Aerospace, where my dad used to work. He was a tool and die maker. And a lot of the land is Indian land. And the land, once UNC Aerospace closed down, it just kind of sat vacant for a while. And they ended up doing a lot of, checking with the upper ups, trying to see if they could get that land for the casino. And it took them a while. And of course, they built the casino after I left.
Naturally.
Of
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
bet that employed a lot of people in the area, didn't it?
It brought stoplights and food and hotels. I don't recognize the place when I go home.
Oh, you didn't have a stoplight growing up?
There was one stoplight basically right by the Beat Brothers. Mhm.
Now, a real stoplight or a flashing light?
No, that was a real one.
Nice. Okay.
We had one McDonald's and one grocery store.
Tell me you guys in high school did not cruise Main Street at 10:30 by the Dairy Queen because you had nothing else to do in town?
No, we hung out at the rock quarry and drank.
Yeah, we won't tell anybody, so, okay. The Rock Court. What was the, drink of choice back then?
Oh, see, I was not a beer person nor a wine person back then, but I grew up on whiskey and bourbon, so it was always Jack Daniels.
Oh, geez.
So the joke was my dad would say, "Who did you hang out with tonight?" And it was either George Dickel,
Yep.
Jim Beam, or Jack Daniels. So I would say Jack, Jim, or George.
Yep.
And then Dad went to the couple of the football games and went, "There's no kids with those names." And I'm like, "Hey, you took me to tour Jack Daniels when I was 6.
Yeah.
All your
Which
fault."
is what all good parents in Tennessee do, yeah.
Mhm.
The, first time my son and I'm not a whiskey guy, but we're talking one day and he goes, "Who you hanging out with today?" He goes, "The Four Horsemen." Like, I only know that as Notre Dame football, but I don't think that's what you're talking about, so then I learned who the Four Horsemen were. I'd heard of all four of them, I just had not heard of Four Horsemen before, so
Nice.
that was good. Anyways, one quick tip for somebody wanting to think about putting their house on the market. What should they do?
Stage, biggest thing right now. Get the house cleaned up and decluttered. Houses are selling fast, and be ready to move. So a lot of the times I'm telling people, go ahead and start packing, declutter the house. Because if you've got a lot of stuff in there, people are going to think, how long is it going to take you to get moved out of this place with all this? And it also makes better pictures, and people can make it their own as they're walking through it. So it's just staging, decluttering, and just sprucing it up. Get the marker. You either invest in some great magic erasers to get the marks off the wall, or paint, and keep the floors clean.
Yeah, and those, Mr. Clean pads, oh,
Yep.
those are gold. If you've never used one, telling you, a little water on those things, it takes off 90% of things you didn't think would come off, so I'm a
Exactly. I
I'm
buy them in bulk from Costco.
I'm a big fan of those, so anyways, Tallie, enjoyed having you on the show, love the stories, thanks for the real estate tips, and, good luck with your Apex Business Builders. I know you'll be a
Thank you.
hit.
Thank you. We're growing, and we're going to keep going.
And that is Thursday mornings at 8:30 in Apex, folks. So if you want to meet some good folks that way to help you grow your business, or just meet some people that know people, please attend that chapter. And we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.